The time by Carrie Chris is 6 p.m. Time for CBX Business News. The Business News Headlines is brought to you by CBX Wealth Management, making more possible.
DBJ billion-dollar fund, TNT tackles home invasions, and BIS flags hedge fund risks. Good evening and welcome to CBX Business News for Thursday, November 27, 2025. I'm Rochelle Moncrief. Thanks for joining us. Coming up in the newscast, locally, the Development Bank of Jamaica launches a $10 billion M5 fund to drive a business recovery post-Hurricane Melissa. On the regional front, Trinidad and Tobago passes a new home invasion law to protect home-based businesses from rising security threats. And over on the global stage, BIS chief warns global regulators about rising risk from hedge fund leverage in government bond markets. Stay tuned as we unpack these stories and more right after the break.
Wealth is not simply counted in dollars or cents, but in the time we spend with love, in love, giving love. Wealth is not simply a means to an end. It is the means to live out loud. Wealth is more than money. It's about family, the memories you create, the legacy you leave behind, and your ability to enjoy life in the moment. It's also about seeing the CBX possibilities and seizing investment opportunities to achieve the future you want and deserve. Which is why CBX Wealth will focus on your investments so you can experience more. Because true wealth is truly more. To start investing today, call 876-926-7767.
If it were not for the Jamaica Stock Exchange listing, Phosphate Company Limited would not be where it's at today. I called them, they listened to my concerns and my fears, and they gave me the answers. All the fears I had about banks, about losing control, you are having them. And I tell you, they were dissipated when I spoke to the Jamaica Stock Exchange. This is one of the best decisions I have ever made in business. If you want to change the trajectory of your business and to grow, make that call today to the Jamaica Stock Exchange. You will be glad you did.
Serious about building Jamaica? Build with solid PVC pipes and conduits, manufactured in Jamaica by Phosphate, made to the highest standard. Solid PVC pipes and conduits are made in Jamaica by Jamaicans for Jamaicans. Available at hardware stores across the island. Take some solid advice, support our economy, and build well. Buy solid PVC pipes. Next time, ask for solid brand PVC pipes and conduits. Call our distributors or Phosphate at 876-937-5099.
What you put in is what you get out. What you put in is what you get out. Yeah. build up your body, boost up your brain. Take on the world now. Say bye-bye pain. Caribbean Dreams, instant turmeric tea. Be good to you. Caribbean Dreams, instant turmeric tea. Distributed by Amalgamated Distributors Limited.
The local news is brought to you by Derriman Trading. Better from the start. Development Bank of Jamaica, facilitating economic growth and development. Caribbean flavors and fragrances, tease the senses, and Pulse Investments. The local news is brought to you by Derriman Trading. Better from the start. Development Bank of Jamaica, facilitating economic growth and development. Caribbean flavors and fragrances, tease the senses, and Pulse Investments.
Are so much book you need for high school?
I'll show you how to make sure you have all the money for my books and even some extra. It's called budgeting, Dad. Making a budget is the most important thing you can do to track your money. It keeps a record of how much you make, how much you spend, where you spend it, and most importantly, how much you can save. Write down all your income, write down all your expenses, see where you can cut down and allot more money to more important things, like saving.
Me grew up and see my granny save her money under her mattress.
Exactly. Okay. Your grandmother's house never burned down?
No, how you reached that, so? That was a one-off thing.
That could have happened to anybody. That's why you must put your money in a financial institution and protect it.
What if the bank crash?
Well, that's where JDIC comes in.
What you mean?
JDIC is a financial safety net which provides coverage for your money in case your financial institution fails.
Explain that to me.
All right. Because of the JDIC deposit insurance scheme, once you put your money into a financial institution like a bank or building society, you can get coverage of up to a maximum of $1.2 million per deposit of your financial institution if it should fail. And for even more information, you can visit their new website at www.jdic.org, and you can follow the social media platforms for the latest information.
JDIC, protecting deposits for you and me.
Fesco started from 5 shareholders who believe that they could execute a fuel company as good as or as better than any multinational. The director shareholders always believe that the dealers within our network should be owners of the company. They believe that staff should be owners of the company. And specifically also believe that the public should become shareholders. That cannot be facilitated by a bank loan. Our experience so far has translated into additional customers. Our transparency has allowed us to access credit easier and at better rates. So if you're a private company thinking about growing your profits, having better access to capital, I really think you should consider listing on the junior or the main market. Go ahead, have that conversation as soon as possible. We did it and we're very happy.
How may I assist you today?
I want to open an account for me and my son.
That's great. Let me see your documents. I understand you want to know about our savings account. Let me show you a few accounts and the benefits of each account.
Why do you need so many documents from my mommy?
It's called KYC, Know Your Customer. This helps us to protect you and treat you right. Thanks for the documents. Take a look at this brochure. Let's discuss savings accounts. A savings account is an interest-bearing deposit account. Customers with savings deposit accounts are covered up to $1.2 million per ban, so you don't have anything to worry about.
This financial literacy tip is brought to you by Bank of Jamaica, promoting financial inclusion. For more information, visit our BOJ Real Talk playlist on our YouTube channel.
The Jamaica Stock Exchange is moving again in the right direction, moving again in history and transformation and under visionary leadership. Generations to come, like my son, And my son's children, by the time they are able to talk, they understand things to do with the stock exchange.
As we go this journey of market news, market education, is never enough. So we know that CBX will also provide that avenue for more content. We also interrogated our market through survey, and the result was conclusive, with approximately 70% of those interviewed stating that they needed more in-depth business information. That's why we are here.
Welcome to CBX.
Me grew up and see my granny save her money under her mattress.
Exactly. Your grandmother's house never burned down?
No, how you reached that, so? That was a one-off thing.
That could have happened to anybody. That's why you must put your money in a financial institution and protect it.
What if the bank crash?
Well, that's where JDIC comes in.
What you mean?
JDIC is a financial safety net which provides coverage for your money in case your financial institution fails.
Explain that to me.
All right. Because of the JDIC deposit insurance scheme, once you put your money into a financial institution like a bank or building society, you can get coverage of up to a maximum of $1.2 million per deposit of your financial institution if it should fail. And for even more information, you can visit their new website at www.jdic.org, and you can follow the social media platforms for the latest information.
JDIC, protecting deposits for you and me. Caribbean Dreams, instant turmeric. What you put in is what you get out. What you put in is what you get out. Yeah. Build up your body, boost up your brain. Take on the world now. Say bye-bye pain. Caribbean Dreams, instant turmeric tea. Be good to you. Caribbean Dreams, instant turmeric tea. Distributed by Amalgamated Distributors Limited.
We're here to open a savings account for my son John. I really want him to start saving and managing his own money.
And I need for safe to visit my father in New York.
Okay, based on what you said and our risk assessment, he will qualify for simplified customer due diligence requirements. I'll need your ID, proof of income, TRN, and John's ID as well.
Okay, here you go.
Opening an account is easier than you think using simplified customer due diligence requirements, also called CDD.
Introducing the Corporate Services Unit, your go-to experts for corporate secretarial solutions. We offer statutory compliance, efficient minute taking, registered office address services, management of board and members meetings, setup and maintenance of corporate registers. Stay ahead with our proactive approach to new regulations. We operate under the Trust and Corporate Service Provider, licensed to the JCSD Trustee Services Limited. We're here to simplify your corporate journey, no matter the size of your company. Contact the Corporate Service Unit today, and let's streamline your compliance journey together, because your success is our business.
Caribbean Flavors and Fragrances. It started out as a small family-owned business, and now we're a part of a large group of companies. Being listed on the stock exchange allows us a certain prestige. It also speaks to accountability and transparency. We had some fears about getting our information in the public domain, but once we contacted the Jamaica Stock Exchange, who have the knowledge and the experience to guide us, we were comfortable with getting into the process. If you have any doubts about being listed, just give the Jamaica Stock Exchange a call. They'll be very happy to take you through the process and also provide you with information that you may need. Make that call now.
Caribbean Flavors and Fragrances Limited has been a part of Jamaica's manufacturing landscape for over 20 years. By crafting unique flavors and fragrances, we have become a part of your favorite household and food items, such as beverages, ice cream, household cleaners, and much more. Known throughout the Caribbean for the highest quality, we continue to innovate with strong leadership, a dedicated team with integrity. We go the extra mile for our customers. Create the next taste sensation. Contact us at 876-9235-111 or visit our website, Facebook, Instagram, or LinkedIn pages.
Serious about building Jamaica? Build with solid PVC pipes and conduits, manufactured in Jamaica by Phosphate, made to the highest standard. Solid PVC pipes and conduits are made in Jamaica by Jamaicans for Jamaicans. Available at hardware stores across the island. Take some solid advice, support our economy, and build well. Buy solid PVC pipes. Next time, ask for solid brand PVC pipes and conduits. Call our distributors or Phosphate at 876-937-5099.
The local news is brought to you by Darriman Trading. Better from the start. Development Bank of Jamaica, facilitating economic growth and development. Caribbean flavors and fragrances, tease the senses. And Pulse Investments.
Welcome back to CBX Business News. We begin with a major financing push to rebuild Jamaica's business sector. Jamaica's business recovery effort after Hurricane Melissa is getting its most significant financial boost yet. The Development Bank of Jamaica, DBJ, has launched a Jamaican $10 billion M5 business recovery program, a multi-stage facility designed to help companies rebuild, restock, and regain stability. Speaking on Wednesday during a government press briefing, DBJ Managing Director Dr. David Lowe says the program represents Jamaica's most targeted financing response to a national climate disaster.
The funding is broken into 3 key phases and stages of deployment. The first is a $1 billion Jamaican dollar fund available to all of the AFIs and MFIs, which are our partners in the financial sector. And they have immediate access to this $1 billion fund, which is part of DBJ's current balance sheet. The second phase, which was approved at Cabinet this week, is $3 billion, which is a further support for the engagement, which I will take you through in terms of how we'll be supporting Jamaican businesses. Thereafter, there's a further commitment of $7 billion Jamaican dollars, which will assist in the overall rebuilding of particular sectors, supply chains, and other economic actors.
Dr. Lowe says the program features 3 financing windows, offering businesses Jamaican $20 to $50 million in support per window.
The framework has 3 distinct product windows. The first, we have coined the name the refinance window. These are businesses that might have been indirectly affected, which already have credit facilities, and what we've done is to look at how we can engage in an assessment of terms, relax certain issues that can allow them to continue and have some breathing space. The second is what we refer to as the reboot window. And this is also what we have referenced as a light touch. You may have just some short-term needs, you have inventory to be replaced, you have some infrastructure damage that's not material to your ongoing operations, but you need to get back to where you were pre-storm. And the most important, and there are lots of issues around this particular window, which is the rebuild window, which is a longer phase engagement. And these are businesses that have pretty much been totally disrupted.
That was Managing Director for the Development Bank of Jamaica, David Lowe. And the DBJ's announcement couldn't be more timely. Jamaica's small business backbone is buckling under the weight of the post-Melissa fallout, with new data from the Small Business Association of Jamaica, SBAJ, revealing a crisis far deeper than previously reported. In a hard-hitting interview with CBX, SBAJ's second vice president, Denise Williams, confirmed that the average small business is now carrying between 2.5 and 5 million Jamaican dollars in losses.
Losses in the small business sector are estimated on the physical infrastructure and the information infrastructure, right? That covers the client sales opportunities, and other, intangible things that make a business work. So we would estimate that there's a total loss of physical and information at around 2.5 to 5 million per business.
She says Jamaica's small business sector spans over 850,000 operators.
We at the Small Business Association have 700 members, but if you break out the total, we're looking at 14,000 small businesses registered at the company's office, 425,000 small businesses that's been surveyed by Ministry of Commerce, and MasterCard, the credit card people who have an office in Jamaica, they estimate another 418,000 small solopreneurs, and that covers people who have a job and have a side hustle.
But the real bombshell, an estimated 95% of small businesses have no insurance or grossly inadequate coverage.
There was a survey out that said 95% of homeowners in Jamaica do not have insurance. And I don't think the MSME sector is any different. So whereas I know Grace Kennedy had advocated for farming insurance, there hasn't been a similar type of push for MSME. I know that Keyman Insurance has been something the insurance sector has pushed for a long time, but Keyman Insurance tends to be quite expensive for the MSME sector, so I know they don't take it up. So I'm comfortable in saying 95% probably don't have adequate coverage.
That was second vice president of the Small Business Association of Jamaica, Denise Williams. In other news, Jamaica entered Hurricane Melissa with the strongest economic momentum seen in years. That's according to newly released Q3 JCC GK Capital Management Business and Consumer Confidence Indices. The surveys, conducted just days before the storm, show an economy that was accelerating, not stalling, providing a critical baseline as the country moves into full recovery. Consumer confidence climbed to 199 points, the highest in more than 2 decades, while business confidence jumped nearly 7% to 143.7 points. Companies were gearing up to invest, with 64% of firms saying it was the right time to expand. Tourism businesses, now among the hardest hit, had posted a dramatic 90% confidence rate, underscoring the magnitude of the sector's setback. The most striking finding came from outside the capital. Rural and western communities, now facing the brunt of the damage, recorded a 207-point confidence score, signaling booming optimism in jobs, income, and business opportunities just weeks before disaster struck. Market Research Services Executive Chairman Don Anderson says the data confirms Jamaica's pre-storm strength. The economy was not stagnating before Hurricane Melissa. It was surging, he noted. Meanwhile, GK Capital's Tishon Lindo says the momentum now serves as the fuel for national reconstruction. Turning now to a standout moment for Jamaica's financial system. The Bank of Jamaica BOJ has been thrust onto the world stage once again, this time crowned the best central bank for 2025 by Global Finance magazine, cementing Governor Richard Biles as one of the top-performing monetary chiefs in the Western Hemisphere. The award, presented at the World's Best Bank Awards ceremony in Washington, D.C., arrives at a pivotal moment for Jamaica. With the scars of Hurricane Melissa still fresh and billions in damage tallied, the central bank is positioning itself as an anchor of stability in the country's long road to recovery. Governor Biles, who also secured an impressive A grade on Global Finance's prestigious Central Banker report card, up from A- last year, described the accolade as a collective accomplishment, crediting the bank's staff for delivering steady, disciplined policy execution even through crisis. With the scars of Hurricane Melissa still fresh and billions in damage tallied, the central bank is positioning itself as an anchor of stability in the country's long road to recovery. But with recovery now the national priority, BOJ is signaling that its next chapter will be defined by resilience. Governor Biles says the bank is keenly aware that maintaining price stability, safeguarding the financial system, and overseeing deposit-taking institutions are essential pillars in rebuilding the country's economic foundation after Melissa's widespread destruction. And as the BOJ charts the path ahead, we now turn to the latest currency updates. In Thursday's currency trading session, the US dollar is selling for $161.28, the Canadian for $114.17, the pound sterling for $212.64, while the going rate for the euro is $189.99. We move to the latest updates from the JSE equities. In Thursday's trading session, the JSE market activity resulted in the trading of 107 stocks, of which 41 advanced, 45 declined, and 21 traded firm. Leading today's winners are Cygnus Real Estate Finance USD, ISP Finance Services, Main Event Entertainment Group, and Paramount Trading Jamaica. While leading the losers are Jamaica Stock Exchange, Express Catering, the Limnas and Bards, and Epley Limited. The main index advanced by 1,053.67 points, or 0.33%, to close at 315,845.07 points. The junior market index advanced by 15.11 points, or 0.45%, to close at 3,338.14 points.
And it's time for Market Education Feature, brought to you by Carrie Chris, Regional Ratings, Global Standard.
In today's Market Education Feature, we're looking at point of sale. A point of sale POS system enables merchants to process payments and log transactions. It's a computerized terminal that can also manage inventory, analyze purchasing patterns, generate invoices, and gather marketing insights. A POS system functions in both brick-and-mortar stores and online environments, using integrated technologies such as barcode scanners and contactless payment methods. Point-of-sale systems also incorporate advanced security features such as EMV chips and near-field communication NFC technology to help safeguard transactions.
The Market Education Feature was brought to you by Carrie Chris, Regional Ratings, Global Standards.
And that's it for the local news segment. Please stay with us. The regional news is up next.
The local news is brought to you by Derriman Trading, better from the start. Development Bank of Jamaica, facilitating economic growth and development. Caribbean Flavors and Fragrances, tease the senses. And Pulse Investments.
It's feeling so good right now. Feeling so good right now. Yeah, yeah. It's feeling so good right now. Feeling so good right now. Yeah, yeah. It's feeling so good right now. Don't never, ever, ever wanna calm down. Oh, no, no. Yeah, yeah, yeah.
Back. And now for the regional business news. Trinidad and Tobago's home-based business economy is facing a major legal shift. The government's newly introduced Home Invasions Bill, which allows citizens to use defensive, even deadly force against intruders, was passed in Parliament on Wednesday and is already generating controversy. The legislation explicitly acknowledges a growing commercial reality that many businesses now operate from within family homes. Speaking in defense of the bill, Minister in the Office of the Prime Minister Barry Patterath highlighted a rise in cases where criminals gain entry to homes through the business itself, placing both families and small enterprises at heightened risk.
Another point that no one has sought to raise in today's debate has to do with the commercial side of this. The commercial side where in many homes in Trinidad and Tobago, people operate business from downstairs of their house. You see the member for Urupuch East shaking his head. I remember in Urupuch East, there was a situation, there was a company called Big Boys Toys. It was about trucks and so on, Mr. Speaker. It was about trucks. It was about vans, it was about vehicles, etc. And the company was run under the house of the owners. The maid and the children of the home, they were roughly about 7 or 9 years old. The home was invaded through the business.
That was TNT's Minister in the Office of the Prime Minister, Barry Patterath. Grenada has launched a revamped National Adaptation Plan, NAP, for 2025 to 2030, backed by an estimated US $572 million in investment needed to harden its economy against climate shocks. Climate Resilience Minister Karen James says NAP is now the foundation of Grenada's development strategy, stressing that climate adaptation underpins the country's growth, prosperity, and national security.
The National Climate Change Adaptation Plan 2025 to 2030 is Grenada's answer to a world transformed by warming seas and accelerating disruption. It is not a plan written in fear. It is a plan rooted in urgency and in agency. It recognizes that adaptation is not a secondary climate ambition. It is the condition upon which our development, our prosperity, and national security now rest. Resilience is not a choice for us, ladies and gentlemen. It is the prerequisite for our survival and the foundation for our future prosperity.
She says this plan is being positioned as an economic transition blueprint for the country.
This plan drives a new economic transition, one where our coastal zones, food and water systems, public health and infrastructure are strengthened not after disaster strikes, but in anticipation of the risk we know will come. It also advances frontier areas such as climate and mobility, because the displacement of coastal communities must never become a silent crisis.
That was Grenada's Climate Resilience Minister, Karen James. In other news, polls have now closed in St. Vincent and the Grenadines in what analysts are calling the country's most competitive general election in nearly 25 years, one that could reshape fiscal policy, investor confidence, and the wider OECS economic climate. Today, more than 103,000 Vincentians were eligible to vote across 250 polling stations, with stations across Kingstown and rural districts having reported steady voter turnout. Prime Minister Dr. Ralph Gonsalves, 79, the longest-serving leader in CARICOM, is seeking an unprecedented 6th consecutive term for his Unity Labour Party, ULP. But this contest is far from routine. Competing polls show a razor-thin race that could swing either way under the first-past-the-post system. A new DP Dunn-Peer, Barnett and Company model gives the ULP a 64% probability of retaining office, projecting roughly 8 seats for the ruling party versus 7 for the opposition New Democratic Party, NDP. But a rival survey paints a different picture, putting the NDP at 49% support and ahead in most constituencies. The opposition, led by Dr. Godwin Friday, ran on a campaign focused on cost of living pressures, governance, and calls for new leadership, issues that analysts say are penetrating swing seats where household finances remain tight. The race is now on to see who will be the next Prime Minister of the Eastern Caribbean nation. It's now time for news from the Trinidad and Tobago Stock Exchange. Overall market activity resulted from trading in 19 securities, of which 6 advanced, 3 declined, and 10 traded firm. Today's winners are A.S. Bryden & Sons Holdings, Grace Kennedy Limited, Trinidad and Tobago NGL, and Republic Financial Holdings Limited, while leading the losers are Prestige Holdings, National Enterprises, and Massey Holdings. Trading activity resulted in the following movements. The All TNT Index advanced by 1.79 points or 0.13% to close at 1,371.59. The Composite Index advanced by 1.23 points or 0.13% to close at 948.87. The Cross-Listed Index advanced by 0.09 points or 0.13% to close at 69.47. The SME Index remained at 96.18. And we take a short break, but please do stay with us. The international news segment is up next.
Are so much book you need for high school?
I'll show you how to make sure you have all the money for my books and even some extra. It's called budgeting, Dad. Making a budget is the most important thing you can do to track your money. It keeps a record of how much you make, how much you spend, where you spend it, and most importantly, how much you can save. Write down all your income, write down all your expenses, see where you can cut down and allot more money to more important things, like saving.
Back in international news, the new head of the Bank for International Settlements, BIS, Pablo Hernandez de Cos, says reining in hedge funds, ultra-leveraged government bond trades must become an urgent global priority. He pointed to explosive growth in cash futures basis trades, revealing that 70% of US dollar hedge fund repos and half of euro repos now have zero haircut, meaning funds are borrowing with no leverage constraints at all. With public debt in advanced economies set to hit 170% of GDP by 2050, De Cos says the combination of record sovereign debt and unchecked non-bank leverage is a new systemic threat. He called for 2 key tools: mandatory central clearing and minimum collateral haircuts to reduce excessive leverage. He warned that rising debt, weakening credit worthiness, and tighter financial conditions make a credible, independent monetary policy more important than ever. Meanwhile, in Europe, regulators have handed down a major penalty in another high-stakes financial enforcement case. Dutch prosecutors have fined 2 Morgan Stanley entities a combined 101 million euros for a dividend tax evasion scheme that helped ineligible investors improperly reclaim Dutch dividend taxes. The fine is separate from the bank's tax bill, which it settled with authorities last year, including interest. Prosecutors say Morgan Stanley built a structured trading system allowing clients who normally cannot reclaim Dutch dividend taxes, mostly foreign investors, to receive rebates they were not entitled to under Dutch law. Criminal charges were on the verge of being filed, but Morgan Stanley accepted the fine at the last moment. The bank says it is pleased to have resolved this historical matter, which dates back more than a decade. And staying in Europe, but shifting to digital markets, where France's competition regulator has ruled on a dispute involving Microsoft. France's Autorité de la Concurrence has dismissed a complaint by French search engine Quant, which accused Microsoft of abusing its dominance in search and online advertising. The watchdog says Quant failed to provide convincing evidence that Microsoft imposed exclusivity restrictions or disadvantaged Quant in search ad allocation. It also declined to issue urgent interim measures. Quant, long dependent on Microsoft's Bing platform for search results, says it will challenge the ruling in court or escalate the case to other authorities. Microsoft welcomed the decision, saying it remains committed to supporting innovation across Europe. The case highlights Microsoft's pivotal position in Europe's search syndication market, where it also supplies engines like Encosia and DuckDuckGo. And that's it for the international segment of the newscast. The news recap is coming up on the other side of And now to recap our top stories. In the local news, DBJ launches $10 billion M5 fund to drive Melissa business recovery. Regionally, TNT's new home invasion law targets a rising threat to home-based businesses. And internationally, BIS chief warns regulators of a rising risk from hedge fund leverage in global bond markets. Those were the stories making today's CBX Evening News. On behalf of the entire production team, I am Rachelle Moncrief. Thanks for watching CBX, your region, your business, your source.